So today we are driving a 2014 Ford F-250, and this customer came into our shop with his vehicle concerned about when the vehicle's hot and he's going up an incline around 45 to 55, 60 miles an hour, and he's just tipping into the accelerator, he would get a sensation like the transmission is slipping. The vehicle was kind of skipping maybe, or it was kind of giving a little jolting action. So initially, the thought was it needs a transmission, some repairs or replacement, but that's not what it is. Let me show you what we found on this thing and show you what the way you diagnose it and what needs to be done to repair it. Okay, so as it turns out, I'm on a road test with this vehicle right now, and I had to get it pretty hot. I just started it up. I let it sit at the shop and run for about an hour or two, and then I've had to drive it for about 15 or 20 minutes. I took it up on the interstate. I got it into overdrive, and I let off of it, and I let it slow down, and I just tipped into it just enough to load the engine but not cause a forced downshift. And I felt the jolting, skipping sensation. And it turns out to me that it's engine misfires. That's what it felt like. So let me show you how you confirm that it's engine misfires and not transmission slippage. So the way you do that is you're going to have a scan tool. And we use a Snap-on Solus Edge here. And I'll show you where you go to find this stuff. Now, Ford vehicles have a test that you go to under generic functions. So you get to that, and then you go down to mode 6, which is onboard monitor systems. And Ford will monitor the misfires or engine performance under this parameters here. So go to mode 6, and then when you go to mode 6, you can see that they look at a lot of stuff here. O2 sensors, look CATs, they look at the VVT, they look at the EVAP. And then they get down here and they look at engine misfires. So I'm going to go ahead and go to cylinder 2 because that's the one I found that's giving a problem. And what you do when you look at cylinder 2, or any of the cylinders for that matter, is you have all these different things right here. And as you can see that the misfire monitor is ready and the cycle was enabled and it was completed and all that. But what you look at is these values. And you look at, mainly I look at value for test OU. And before I took the road test, that value right there under test OU, the counts, that value was 0. And when you see a 0 value, it's running good. After the misfires come back, that value went to 28. Now, if you look scrolling down, you'll see as a result the test passed. So basically what's happening here is this customer's coming in with this skipping sensation, and there's no codes in the system. There's no misfire codes, there's no transmission codes. All you got to go on is customer description of problem and the drivability concern. So you go to that mode 6 and you look at these values, and if you see any of those values over 0, then that cylinder's got an issue, even though the test might have passed. All right, just to give you an example, I'm going to look at another cylinder. Right now we're going to be looking at cylinder 3. And as you can scroll down and see, all the values on this one are 0, including the test OU. When I get there, I think I just passed it. Okay, my apologies. I'm saying test OU, it's actually test OC. They say I need glasses, but you know what? I just don't believe them. So anyway, looking at cylinder 3, you can see that test OC, the value is 0. And if you scroll through all these tests, test OB, they're all 0. That's the way it's supposed to be when the cylinder's working right. But as we just seen on cylinder 2, that value on test OC was 28. Okay, just to take you to one more cylinder, this is cylinder 6, and again, all the values are 0. So the only one I've seen a problem on is cylinder number 2. Yeah, cylinder 2. See, the OC is 28 on cylinder 2. Alright, so I got to tell you, I really don't know what all these tests mean or what they do. I mean, there's other videos, there's other information out there that'll explain that. I just know that when these cars come in, I drive it, and if any of those values are high or above zero during the time the problem happens, that I've been able to fix them by doing coils and plugs on them. Unless, of course, I got a bad engine. I got to do a compression test to make sure I got a good integrity on the engine and good fuel system, fuel pressure test, all that stuff. But most of the time it's coils. The coils are breaking down when they get hot. It's usually what I've been finding with these vehicles. And I'll tell you something else. You got to do the test, or at least I've had to do the test right when the problem happens. So as soon as you get that misfire, you pull over and you start looking, or you get back to the shop and you start looking at these cylinders and see if those values are high. And if they are, then you've got an engine performance issue. You don't have a transmission concern. Okay, so I'm driving a vehicle now, and what you do is I just slow it down. I'm actually going up a grade on the interstate. And you just slow it down and you tip into it, and that's when you'll get the misfires. It just did it just now. And it's very erratic when it does it. So I can tell you, over the years that I've been in this business, I've had a lot of customers come in thinking they needed transmission repairs or replacement because they're on the interstate or high speed and they're getting into the loading the engine, and they get this misfire, skipping, slipping sensation, whatever you want to call it. And I've driven the car or diagnosed the car and found out that it's not the transmission, it's wound up being an engine performance issue. So this is one of the tests that you can do on Ford products to determine whether where you got to go to fix it, whether you got engine misfires or transmission concerns. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Like and subscribe.